The following is a presentation of Project Independence and WCWP. Project Independence is the Aging in Place initiative of the town of North Hempstead. We provide programs and services designed to assist and support the older town residents who wish to remain in their homes as they age. If we don't currently provide a service, we will try and connect you to that service. Call 311 or 869-6311 to get more information or receive services.
Welcome to Project Independence and You.
Good morning and welcome to Project Independence and You on 88.1 FM, WCWP.org, Community Talk Radio. I'm your host today, Rebecca Miller, along with our co-host, Otto Lohse. Good morning, Otto. How are you today?
Morning, Rebecca. Very nice. And good day. Good day.
Good day. It's a good rainy Friday. So we have a great show. Kristina, of course, the radio show producer who brings us amazing guests every week. And now we have gone international with our next guest. So we're very excited to have Carrie Ekins here from Germany, where I think it is 4 p.m. So it's 10 a.m. here when we're doing the show live, but it is going to be archived. So it's 10 a.m. in the morning here on Long Island in Nassau County in the town of North Hempstead. And I believe it's 4 p.m. where you are.
That's right.
It's technology. Technology is just so amazing, isn't it? Here we are just Zooming with you in Germany. So thank you so much for joining us today. I know Kristina had a lot of fun researching you and connecting with you, and she was so excited when we finally got you to do this show. We're all excited because you're our first international guest, but really you're a California girl. So we're going to learn all about you today and this incredible program, Drums Alive. So we talked a little bit during break. So just to get a little bit of a background on you and kind of what led up to this program. It's so very interesting reading about you and how Drums Alive helps really with the physical, mental, and and has emotional benefits. So we just would love to hear all about you. And I know Otto and I both have lots of questions, and we're just very happy to have you here with us.
Oh, thank you so much. I am so excited to be here with you today. Nervous as always. That's just part of who I am.
You're just talking to friends here. Don't even worry.
So I'm just so excited and so honored to be here with you at your wonderful day of TV. I think you guys do TV and radio, right? Both together. And
yes.
So I'm very excited and very honored to even be here with you. So thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you. So so tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how and when and why this drum fitness came to life.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit of background about what Drums Alive is and then jump into the how it happened, or would you prefer to have it the other way around?
That sounds great. Whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay, so let me explain first what Drums Alive is, and before I get to my story thing.
Okay.
So first of all, Drums Alive, we believe that everyone deserves to have a healthy and happy lifestyle, regardless of your age, your ability, your background, your economic status. We're trying to create a program, or we have throughout these 20 years, tried to create a program that's for everybody. And we wanted to make sure that when we put these things together, where movement and exercise, we know and we understand that it's an integral part of a healthy mind and a healthy body. And putting them together, when you create movement and exercise, that when they're mindfully combined with drumming, with music, with rhythm, with cognitive applications, the experience can be transformative. It can be joyful. And for many, it can be magical. So that's kind of what our goals are, to make sure that we have a program for everyone. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story, and my story is about what happened and how Drums Alive was even born. So I had already had my first hip replacement at a very, very young age in my 30s. And by 7 years later, that hip went bad. The artificial hip went bad, which unfortunately ended up leaving me without even bone in my Becken. Sorry, that's German. My hip area. So I ended up going to the hospital, having a very long surgery. And when I came out, the doctor said to me, "Hey, Carrie, sorry that this took so long, this operation. And I'm sorry to tell you this, but you will not be walking for the next 6 months minimum, and non-weight bearing." And he said, "But guess what? The good part is you have 2 hands and 2 arms." And so I sat on the bed going at the hospital going, okay, I come from fitness and dance and movement and skiing, and now I can't do anything. And so Drums Alive was really a program out of necessity. So I had to find something that made me happy, and something that made me feel good, and something that helped me stay fit and awake and energy. So what I started to do is I just started to drum. I started drumming on the hospital bed, just with my hands, doing some clapping games. And then from there, when I went back to the house, I started drumming on boxes and started drumming on anything I could find, because I had a pair of drumsticks. And from there, all of a sudden, I'm drumming and I'm sweating and I'm sitting on a chair because I couldn't stand. I was in a wheelchair. And all of a sudden, I was feeling the euphoric feelings. I was energized. I was sweating, and I was going, "Oh my gosh, what is this? Why am I feeling this? I'm just sitting down, banging on a drum." And it was that moment that I really realized that it was the transformative power of music, of drumming, of rhythm, of cognitive applications, and putting those all together is an amazing thing that happened to me. So I decided I'm going to create this. And in the beginning, I have to tell you that they laughed at me. And for many years, I thought, what is this going on? And so it was always included with drumming, music, rhythm, cognitive applications, speech patterning, sequencing, and putting those all together, making the brain work for improving the executive function of the brain. So that's really, truly how Drums Alive started, out of necessities. So the word is, from lemons, you make lemonade.
Is it always with music?
No. Sometimes it's just drumming.
Right.
Sometimes it's silence, because silence plays a big part in our emotions. When the music builds and builds and builds, and then all of a sudden it stops, you're feeling it just going. And those are very, very powerful moments. So it's a combination, really, of everything.
You know what might be a good idea, because we have no picture in front of us. What does this drum look like? When we're talking about drums, people visualize a set of drums, maybe. What would be the vision of what this drum is like?
Very good question. So I'm going to roll over here, and you'll kind of see those are drums back there. And then I also have a drum head, a drum lid, you can see, with the bucket. And
right.
Yeah, so there's multiple ways of having the drum, but the drum I chose, and I'll tell you the story of how that happened. It was because I had to sit on a great big ball, and so that I didn't have a 90-degree angle on my hips. So I was sitting on a ball trying to do my exercises, and I thought, this rebounds. This is pretty cool. I threw away my boxes that I was drumming on, put the ball in front of me, sat down on a chair, and started drumming on a stability or a yoga ball. And the reason why I did that was because I thought, okay, first of all, it's not loud. And so a lot of people can drum at the same time. 2, it rebounds really well. It doesn't hurt your wrists or your hands. And 3, because people could afford it.
Yeah, the ball goes into a big pot, as I saw it. And actually, I actually saw you can buy it on Amazon.
Yeah,
they were selling Drums Alive drums and sticks on Amazon.
Oh, is that right? No way.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, really. You should try going on Amazon.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So we do have a company. It's West Music, and they're amazing. They're just amazing people, and we have a great stuff. The ball that we have is high quality, and the buckets and the drumsticks, because we want to make sure that we don't have the chance of the cheap drumsticks that could crack and split. So you need to have good drumsticks. The more expensive, about in the middle is about where we would work at.
Yeah.
So with Drums Alive, is it or is it like a program? Is it a company? So if I wanted to utilize this or even implement it in a studio, or like maybe physical therapists want to follow this, how does that process work?
Okay, good question. Yes, so we have trainings. We have lots of trainings. We have virtual, we have live. Now we have live. Thank heavens. Yeah, so we have virtual trainings, and we have been training people for years. In Germany, we have over 10,000 that we've trained, and
Wow.
it's in America. It's not as high as here in Germany, but almost. And we've trained a lot of people. And so we have a training program that you can sign up for and join us. And it's very much a program that utilizes the knowledge of the brain and the body and the social emotional aspects, as well as the emotional aspects that are all involved in this program. And yeah, so you can sign up and join us anytime you want to. We would love it. And we train everyone from people that are total fitness activists to therapists, from music therapists, recreational therapists, physical therapists. The therapist world is starting to explode for us, because all of a sudden they're recognizing, oh my goodness, this is a combination of all of the things that I was just talking about.
Well, I'm sorry, but doing homework for this, I have another question, but you can answer that after my thinking. A contact in the USA, but there's an expo that took place here called Abilities Expo, and there was a thing there called Adaptive Drums Alive, presented by a lady called Ashley Barong Field. Is that a connection with Drums Alive? It was at a big expo in a convention center.
Well, I'd have to go. I'd have to ask my team that does all that work, because I'm the creator that creates the stuff.
Because I was looking for places around here,
yeah,
in Long Island, and I saw Lindell Elementary School in Long Beach. Somebody must have trained somebody. Knowles Housing Community and Paragon Management, and they had 6 or 7 locations that people are actually doing Drums Alive. And it appeared that people could walk in to these places even if they were not a resident at that facility. And that's something we could look into here a little bit more. But
so real quick, so we have been accepted by Silver Sneakers. So if Silver Sneakers teaching anywhere, then and they're teaching Drums Alive, and there's a Silver Sneakers teacher, then they also get credit for that as well. So that maybe the walk-in could be the reason why there's a walk-in. I don't really know, but yeah. So Drums Alive was created when I was in the hospital 20 years ago, and so of course it's grown and grown and grown, and so the knockoffs are happening,
right?
But we were the first worldwide research project on drumming, music, movement, rhythmical applications as that combination and cognitive application. So I think I was going to put that in part 2, but we can talk a little bit about that if you would like to now, and I can talk about the research that we do, or we can just keep talking about your questions.
Well, we can definitely start talking about the research on the next segment, because I'm kind of interested more in, like, if I wanted to take, if, just anybody wants to take a class, do you have programs for classes? Like there's a series of classes, or you can just go to a fitness center where somebody does it once a week, or is it more like controlled? This is how you do it. This is how all the classes run. Do you have your own music? I mean, I have so many questions because I know music's copyrighted, and do people make their own music? So I'm just like really curious to hear how someone can actually take a class too.
Okay. So I'll start with the take a class because that's the easy one. So take a class, if anywhere that you see a class going, that you can join it. Because the people are happy unless you belong to a studio or a fitness that you have to be registered and they don't let you in. But that's the studios or the fitness centers. But from our side, we're happy when you join us or join a class, because it is different. It was different from the very beginning, if you can imagine, from back then to now. And now the knowledge that we have on creativity, the knowledge that we have on social emotional health, and the knowledge that we have on research and brain health, that 20 years ago when I first was doing this, there was no really true knowledge in that world. So you can just join. And as far as the teachers, so the teachers do need to be trained, because it is not just about hitting a ball. It's not about, okay, here's the choreography, because it's about, if I'm doing a choreography and we're doing boom, chicka, boom, 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 it's a speech patterning that has to do with the brain. That's the occipital lobe of the brain that then transports to the front, and the speech happens. If we are using things like visuals, we put something up in the air, and the students need to see if it's a number 1, 2, 3, 4. What are the skills that I'm doing? Occipital lobe of the brain. What's happening on that part of the brain when you have a visual? What happens when it's an emotional thing? And so this is really the kind of the last part, the third segment that I'll talk more in depth of. But it really truly is about what's happening here, here, and here.
What a great time to cut to our break. We have to take a quick break, but we will be right back speaking with Carrie Jean Ekins, who is the CEO and founder of Drums Alive. You're listening to Project Independence in You on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We will be right back.
Take WCWP with you wherever you go with the WCWP app. Listen live 24/7 to all of our streams, all from one app. Plus, call the studios directly from the app and visit our social media. Download the app through the iOS App Store on Apple devices or the Google Play Store on Android by searching WCWP Radio, or visit WCWP.org for links. The WCWP app, available now on iOS and Android devices.
Welcome back to Project Independence in You on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. I'm Rebecca Miller, hosting the show today, along with Otto Lohse, and of course, Kristina Liu, the radio show producer who brings the most amazing guests, including our guest today. We're Zooming live with her from Germany, and just an amazing program that you started about 20 years ago. Before we, the last segment, we were just talking about the actual programs and how people can take it. And are you doing, can people do programs, Drums Alive, virtually in any capacity?
Yeah, so we also have virtual evenings or days, depending, in Germany. And so if you speak German, just come join us in the German teams. And if you speak English, then we have a lot of things on English. So you need to go on Instagram, Facebook, and you'll find things on of where we're going to be having things, and just go on YouTube. And if you go to YouTube, you're going to see lots and lots and lots of Drums Alive and others that have choreography. So if you're interested in looking at some fun choreographies, then those would be the place that you want to go look.
Can an individual do this? Like, let's say some people like to just do things like that by themselves. Is there ways that people do that?
Yeah, so you can go up online and just look up Drums Alive workout or Drums Alive seniors or things like that. So we have all kinds from our seniors to our diverse abilities. We have courses and classes for all of those. And it's not like we're one of those ones that it's a continual thing. Every week you're going to have a training, but we put a lot of videos up on all those different things such as Instagram or Facebook or anything. So if you look around, then you will find something at least to do that. And if you do want to join some of the Drums Alive things, then just go look up Drums Alive dash no, that's German. Drums Alive, oh my gosh, ACCC. Okay, just a second. I just lost one. See, I'm a senior. Don't forget that I'm 64. And so we have the American one and we have the German one. And so the German one is drumsalive.eu, Europe, and the American is drumsalive dash
right, drums-alive.com.
Right.
Okay.
Thanks
and we're
for
happy
me on
to, if any of our listeners want information, they can always call our town's call center, and we're happy to give that information out to them as well. But I do know you want to talk a lot about research. You'd mentioned you have all these pages, and we're already almost halfway through. That happens all the time. So don't worry. I guarantee Kristina will have you back on the show. So,
okay.
And, so, maybe I'll become certified, and we can get some of our other instructors, because we have a lot of Project Independence fitness classes. We actually have one of our instructors is a Silver Sneakers educator as well. So we work with a physical therapy business locally. So, maybe we could do that. So I think we may have a future partnership together. And I do hope so. But, that all being said, I am very interested to hear about the research, because with, it just kind of boosts up so many reasons why Drums Alive is so important for us, for our well-being.
Thanks. And yes, thanks for saving me on that, giving me the right address. So I just wanted to say what's happened. So when it's called Chemnitz University in Germany. So Chemnitz is the one that they reached out to me and they said, "Hey, Carrie, are you interested in doing some research?" And I was like, euphoric. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, of course I want to do some research, because there was nothing, zero on this combination. So it actually happens through the University of Gloucestershire first, which they did a study on drumming, only drumming. And they drummed with Clem Burt, who's the drummer for Blondie. The tide is high.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yes. So that was the first research. Then Chemnitz University picked up with them, and then they decided, oh my goodness, Drums Alive does drumming, movement, music, rhythmical applications, and cognition in their program. We better study this. So they called me and asked me if we were interested. And I said, yeah, of course I am. So we started researching, and we first researched the healthy students, the seniors, and the children, healthy children. And then from there, we broke out into nursing homes. We broke out into diverse abilities. We have from depression, some research in depression. And we have actually right now just finished a publication that just got accepted and will probably come out next week. I would hope so, for our seniors. So very exciting, some of the research that we're doing and finding out that our research members that first studied this, they were therapists, teachers, physiologists, musicians, communal authorities, and that it wasn't about Carrie. I created it, but I wasn't in charge of the research, because that's not, you don't do that. So the research was truly the outcomes that I'm just going to read it to you. So the results. When improvement was on endurance, on strength, on cognition, on coordination, behavior, and on the majority of the participants. So if you're interested in research, just go to our web pages and you will find some research out there that we have done.
Carrie, is that based on one day a week and like 1 hour a week? Or how frequently somebody have to do this?
Good question. So we had different ones from the children to the seniors. And so most of the time we would have 2 days a week. And the students of Chemnitz University were the ones I taught them, and then they would go and do the research with the participants. So it could run from, say, 4 weeks to 6 weeks. And the dates might be 1 to 2 days a week. That was generally the research that was done. But it varied. It varied according to the group that we had.
Is it a 1 hour deal, or how long?
If for example, the children, we went about 45 minutes.
Okay.
So it would change but we tried to get in that hour, but that would include the talking and everything that we did. So
Probably has a lot to do with what kind of shape you were in before you started. I could visualize banging on a drum for an hour could be pretty exhausting.
Yeah.
And it can, but we also have different levels. If I'm working with our seniors, then we can go from sit to standing. We can have at higher levels, lower levels, and the kids, same thing, the little ones. But when we got the athletes out there, I'm not going to go down on that one. They're going to be doing drumbata, which is a Tabata protocol. So,
Right.
Yeah, so it varies according to the group that you're using.
So, Carrie, you mentioned a little bit about your background, but you seem like to have this incredible, all these different experiences with, physical and even in entertainment and medical. So, I'm curious where all these different specialties came together, and how wonderful to bring it all together, at this point.
Okay, that's a great question. I'll try not to talk too much, but yeah, I grew up in kind of a world of music, of sport, of health, of understanding why you do things. It's the why, the how, the what's. And if you don't understand that, then you're not going to be able to talk about it. So yeah, so growing up with a mother that was a musician and a teacher, and also worked with diverse abilities, and we as children were also had that opportunity to be able to work with my mom when she would be working with diverse abilities as younger people. We would go with my mom. And so, that the desire to have something for everybody was part of my growing up. So that's where that is. And my degree is in physical education, dance and sports medicine. And from there, I have just studied dance and movement and music, and loved to ski and dance and compete. And I guess that's my background, and music as well.
Well,
Right.
just to be clear, I'm sorry, but this, what would I call it, routine, if you will, is not just hitting drums, but I saw the video. There's a lot of other movement that takes place that has nothing to do with hitting drums. Maybe just give a little description of that.
Okay, so it is sometimes the drummers come and go, oh my gosh, this isn't drumming, but what is drumming? Does it mean that this isn't drumming? It's still something in that area and that world, the drumming and the movement. So I bring in the movement because that's my background, music, movement, cognitive applications. And I just felt when it happened to me, that's what I started immediately doing, because I had to do something and I had to find a way to stay fit. And so bringing in all of the things that I did before I started Drums Alive was from mind-body activities to movement and dance and music and speech and talking, and putting those all together is really truly how that came together. So to say, is it drumming? Well, how do you describe what drumming is? There's so many options for what drumming is. It can be, like you said, you work with spoons. Yeah. So that's a creative
Or just
thing.
your hands.
Yeah, or just your hands.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So In fact, we could even eventually, I'd love to do something with you guys where we can have it. I could bring in my music and hand clapping games and all these fun little things. We could do this together. And
That would be good.
A blast.
Yeah.
It would be really, really fun. Yeah.
If you think about it, talking about what is drumming, it goes back to, in this country, the Native Americans would communicate by some kind of drumming.
Exactly.
There's all kinds of different, around the world, there's many different ways people drum, with bongo drums and me with knives and forks and spoons and whatever.
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly right. And, when you would hear the drum, like in Africa, you're hearing the drum, and all of a sudden, or you're hearing a boom, 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 that's that property, and you better not be going over there. So, it's a communication line. You can talk through the drums. It's a nonverbal communication. So it can happen in many ways. The monkeys, the Makai monkeys, they talk to each other with rhythmical patterns.
You talked about cognitive, and one of the biggest things I think that concerns the senior world is dementia, Alzheimer's. And I did read somewhere in here that there's some feeling through the research that it can help, nobody has a fix for it, but it can help keep it slower, or make it a slower process that it happens. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that part of the research.
Yeah, I would love to, and I will, because that is in part 3, and I call it creating the magic, and how that all is divided up into different sections. So I will talk a little bit about drumming, and a little bit about movement, a little bit about the research that's coming out from these, from cognitive applications to creativity, which is a big deal right now, especially in the schools and education. And then also about mindfulness, and how mindfulness also affects the way that you feel and the way that you can relate to others as well as to yourself. So if we can wait on that, I'll jump right back at that on the next section. If that, otherwise, is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
I could visualize, looking back when I was in school and we had gym and we did a lot of different things. You had to climb ropes, you had to do this, you had to do that. I could visualize this being really a fun segment of a high school, or even a grammar school, grade school here, part of your physical therapy, your physical education. It'd be something that really I could visualize being promoted in a big way, so that it's accepted in every school, that we're going to have a segment of your physical fitness part. They had a president's award here, which I don't know if they still do, but when I was going back to school with Abraham Lincoln, they had, you got gold and silver and bronze based on what you did. How many push-ups did you do? Did you climb the rope with no feet? How many dips did you do? How many chin-ups did you do? I could visualize this being a big part of something like that as a fun segment. Exercise can be kind of boring, to be blunt about it. I try to do it as often as I can, but I really have to force myself. I like to walk. That I enjoy. Exercise, I don't particularly care for, but I do it because I want to play golf and I want to be able to do things.
Right.
But to me, it's work. I'll admit that I'm not one that's going to stand there for an hour and do physical fitness. I will walk for an hour because I enjoy looking around and whatever. But this I could try to do for a while, I think.
Is there a drumming program that comes with walking? Like if somebody like Otto, who likes to walk, is there something that he could do, rock it, while he's walking around the neighborhood?
Sure. My goodness. Yeah. You put in those clapping games. They're awesome. There's research out on clapping games and rhythmical applications on the brain, and also partners, when partners work together. But, I want to show you guys something. So you were talking about, so we were given this as the award winners from the Brain Nation on the Dementia Society of America. And so since you were talking about that and talking about how it will help it'll help with our senior population. I think I just wanted to show you that yeah, because this is a big emphasis of us, and we understand the importance of what we do and how we do things, the why, the what, the how of making it work.
You just said something that rings a bell. Clapping games. I have a fairly large family, and we go to this place for vacation, or we have things at people's homes or whatever. Clapping games. I could visualize a bunch of people playing a clapping game. I have no idea what they are, but I could visualize it being kind of a fun experience. With
Oh
a
my
bunch of
goodness,
people.
yeah.
Yeah. How do you
And
find out what the clapping games are? How do I?
Oh, if you just go up on YouTube and put in clapping games, you'll
Yeah.
find so many, and they're so much fun. But of course, I love clapping games. But in addition to that, I love adding clapping games with other things. So to make a more executive function of the brain, that's what we need to do. We need to. I mean, the research is showing it's improving their skills at school, their knowledge at school. They're also their social emotional education that they have along with it. So these are some really good things that I think if you're out walking or doing things and you don't have anything, you can also find a sticks, and you could do rhythmical things with sticks or clapping games with each other. So just be creative. And that's all also a part of our program, because I grew up in this creative world. So of course I'm going to let creativity be a big part also of our program.
And I could see it in taking a group class with Drums Alive, where, if you're taking a jazzercise class or an exercise class, it's very individual. It's, although you're with the group and you're trying not to trip over anyone and that kind of a thing, keeping your space. And with drums, you're kind of almost trying to play the music together to some degree. I'm sure that there is a lot of, unity in that type of a class. If you're taking, everybody's doing the drums together and you're trying to kind of make music together in a sense.
So I just got an email, as you see me kind of looking around. Well, it's a chat. I think her name's Kelly. She's been putting up some information out there, and she said sevens. Did you see that, everybody? That's a clapping game, and it is really fun. And maybe we could get together sometime and I can show you our clapping games and our speech pattern games and all those things, because what we're trying to do is improve our brain and our body as a combination. So if anyone that was watching right now, I'll just let you guys know, I'm going to pull this down, that you can get that information. Sorry, my chimes. That you can get that information that right now up online. I think she wrote it out for you guys, right?
That's it. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
so there you go, everybody. If you want to start clapping games, that it improves your brain health.
One of my granddaughters is a social worker at a high school, and there's lots of people, because of COVID and whatever, she kind of indicates there's lots of kids with problems, anxiety and whatever. I'm going to tell her that maybe they ought to start a Drums Alive program in the school. It might help alleviate some anxiety. Interesting thought.
All right, we actually are going to take a quick break, and we will be back with Carrie Jean Ekins, who is the founder and CEO of Drums Alive. You're listening to Project Independence in You on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org, and we will all be right back.
WCWP is your home for great music and great conversation. You'll find all that and more on WCWP.org. Listen live on the web, check out the lineup, subscribe to podcasts, and stay up to date on the latest station events. Get in touch with us and let us know if you like what you're hearing. And find out how you can support or get involved at the only community public radio station serving Nassau's North Shore. Plus, sign up to get a free bumper sticker. It's all online at WCWP.org.
And welcome back to Project Independence in You on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org, Community Talk Radio. I'm Rebecca Miller, along with Otto Lohse and radio show producer Kristina Liu. And we're speaking with Carrie Jean Ekins, who is the founder and CEO of Drums Alive, who is talking to us live from Germany. So we're so happy to be speaking with you and learning all about this organization. And it's huge. It's so far reaching. You just mentioned that you were in South Carolina. So do you ever come to Long Island?
Yeah, I've actually been there and done a workshop there as well.
Well, let us know the next time you're back, because we'll definitely get you in and do a presentation for our Project Independence members here at the town of North Hempstead.
I'd love to.
We
That
should
would be
do one
great.
on the show sometime. We should all figure out how we can, with
We
cameras
could
and
do a
whatever.
Zoom. We could definitely figure that one out.
Yeah, because we've done a lot too, where we just open up. So a pair of drumsticks or some, when you're cooking, those wooden spoons, they
Yeah.
work. I mean, you could take a hair dryer. It doesn't matter. But what we're doing is we're just trying to create that rhythmical experience of movement and drumming and music, and that combination is pretty powerful.
That's
Yeah,
an interesting thing. I have no ability. I don't play any musical instrument, but what I find when I bang away on something, I do have some rhythm, and I like doing it. I often said I could have been a drummer if I had learned when I was younger. Somehow there's if you can feel it kind of thing.
Right. There's a drummer in you already. So let's say you're already we don't have to be pros, but we can drum.
Yeah.
Right?
For most rehabbing from what you've been through too with hip replacement, which is so common with seniors, and it's not always a fun recovery. Physical therapy isn't always fun. It's really just trying to build you back and just help you recover. But to be able to add something that is going to help you recover and also be fun. So I wonder how many, if rehabilitation businesses are utilizing Drums Alive as part of their recovery for, people who, like you, were kind of chair bound or bed bound.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so it really, you can find it all over the place now. And there's different groups that are doing Drums Alive, our senior program or our basic program or our children's program or our diverse abilities program. So we have actually really, if you put it all together, we have 9 different ones that are varied according to the population that you're working with. Yeah. So, yeah. So when we were talking about earlier about, where have you been, or do you have it for schools? And I just wanted to mention that, yeah, we do. It's arts and movement residencies where we go in and work with the students and the teachers. And it's sometimes we even create the end production for them. And then the parents come and watch it. And it's just so unique and so wonderful to see the kids engaging and totally involved in what you're doing. But one thing that really, really touches my heart is when I see the students with diverse abilities able to do it like everyone else. And it just brings tears to your eyes because it's just so fulfilling to be able to see that.
Carrie, what you're describing costs money. All right. You fly to South Carolina. You spend a lot of your time. Is there a financial part of this picture would people pay Drums Alive to train all these people? How does that work?
Yeah, of course, because we also have to live.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a charity. It's
right.
Yeah.
Well, there is a lot of charity because
Right.
that was always part of who our program was, is that once a year we have a minimum of asking our master trainers to do something charitable. So those are master trainers are the ones that do a lot, that go out and do the trainings for us if we ourselves can't go or just are too busy. But yeah, of course, it's just like, if you're going to eat, you're going to have some money to buy something to eat. So yeah, but You can go up on the web and see what it is and what kind of trainings that we do have. So it really depends. And the schools will come and ask us to come and do the residencies with them, and allow the children to have that moment of just having fun. And we use songs, like we just did one, and Kelly, one of our master trainers, did actually all of our master trainers did a lot of beautiful songs, of the songs the kids now know. So then you're drumming and they're singing along with you, and drumming and moving, and it's just like this magical world just happens. So it's really, really, really fun to be able to do that.
Now, if you have a bunch of 80-year-olds together, you could play Glenn Miller or...
Yeah, well, we do. And besides that, guess what? They're just as fun as the students, because they like to have fun too, right? So we'll put on, say, okay, today is Colorful Socks Day. Okay, bring your socks. So, I mean, why not? We need to have fun. We need to express ourselves. We need to let go. We can't just go and be so straight. We have to allow that emotion, that feeling, that experience to explode, so that we're happy and that we have feelings of joy and happiness throughout the day. And that's our goal, is not about having a perfect choreography. I mean, okay, I will do that if we're going to do shows and things like that, or we have to have some need structure, and then you have to be that way. But there's other times where I truly, truly believe the power of music, rhythm, drumming, cognitive applications, pulling those all together, and how transformative it can be, as we talked about it at the very beginning about what our program is about. But now you're kind of understanding maybe a little bit of what this is. This crazy thing.
And I know that I can't believe we're in our last segment, because time just goes so fast, but I know that you had some things you did want to cover and talk about. So I just want to make sure that we give you that opportunity.
Okay. Yeah, I just looked too. It's flying by. So I'm just going to go fastly through my notes. I'll try to not just talk, but I wanted just to say some things about the various sections that I have. I sent you guys this. I think, I don't know if you gave it to the students or not, but right now we're on part 3, creating the magic. And so this is combining the movement. You got it. Great. Perfect. Thanks. Yeah. So it's combining the music, movement, drumming, exercise, putting it all together, and how that creates that transformative power. So let me just really quickly talk about why music and rhythm does. So here's some of the reasons why, because music can really influence the brain, the limbic system of the brain, the hippocampus and basic ganglia. And so what it does, that's kind of the place that it stores memories, and those good memories, and the things that give you some kind of an emotional experience. So for example, what you were talking about Otto, is about dementia. And we know that with music, people that have dementia or Alzheimer's, they can sing, they can say the words, they can play the music, but they can't remember their name, or they can't remember their children's name. And why is that? Because that's the mammalian brain, the old brain, the lizard brain, and that's buried deep below the cerebral cortex. And it holds that information about the brain, about the emotion, about the feeling. And so it's the long-term memory that is kept in that part.
Tony Bennett is a classic example of that.
Exactly.
He did a big concert and he had full-blown dementia.
Yep. And that's exactly that's why drumming is one thing, but when you add that music to it, that maybe a music that they know and they can sing with, it boosts them totally, because they remember, they can do it, they can sing it, they can play it. So that's music is unbelievable. It's like the glue to memory, to help you remember things, and it's like cement. So there's so much more, but I know that we don't have time, so I'm moving on to the next one. And we can do it again another time. But so let's go to movement. So what about movement? So why is movement so important? Well, we know that movement helps brain plasticity. And plasticity of the brain means we can change our brain. Plasticity is that word, the magic word. And so when we are moving and we're doing exercise, we're helping our brain, we're activating our brain more. They did a research as sitting and a research of just walking. And you could see in the brain scans that the brain was so much more active by walking, just walking, than sitting. So we know that movement improves the brain. So I'm just going to read this one real quick. It improves physical fitness, reduces anxiety, enhances attention, it guards against stress, and heightens senses. This is really cool. And it improves our focus and our moods, the way that we feel. And here's the good one, reverses some of the effects of aging of the brain. So we can't stop it, but we can slow it down. And so that's a really important part. The next one is why drumming. This one's fun because we all love to drum. From the time we're kids, we heard our mother's heartbeat, boom, 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 boom. So that has always been a part of who we are and what we are, is hearing a beat. And that the children, when they hear a drum beat, they're more active and more engaged than they are when they hear just regular music. And when they hear the mother's voice, they'll turn towards the mom. Why is that? Because they had heard that in the womb. They're from the time that they became. And so that's a really important part that I wanted to talk about. Also, it improves our brain waves. It helps the results of emotion and well-being. And again, like I said at the very beginning, euphoria, that feeling of euphoria. And so the last few, if you have the list, it says, what are some of the other ones for cognitive applications? Well, we know it helps our memory, of course, and it reduces the risk of dementia and Alzheimer's. So that again, for all us seniors out there, oh my gosh, I already recognize it myself. I'm like, okay, I need to start exercising more. I need to start doing more cognitive games, not just, not getting up online and doing games that will help your brain. So putting all these things together in our senior program, we have a lot of brain games. They're really fun. So we could throw that out there too, that we could do together. So emotion is the sixth sense, right? And they have now researched that emotion is as tangible as other circuits of the brain, as other senses. So we call it the sixth sense. And they're finding out that it's just as tangible as the other ones, as smell, as touch. And that's the emotion feeling. So why creativity? And we're coming right to the end, but it helps improve our self-esteem. Because when we create it, all of a sudden, oh, I did that. Of course, we see other people doing things, but we get the ideas and we get, oh, I could do that. Let me try it. And we used to believe that, when you're creative, you can't be creative. You were born with creativity. But guess what? No, that's not true. We can learn creativity. And the very last one, I know it's time to leave, but
keep going. No, you're doing great.
Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So mindfulness. Why is mindfulness so important? Now, over the years, yoga, qigong, tai chi, anything that works to help bring you together to yourself. There's a saying from Dr. Dan Siegel and another one, John Tin Laser or something. He and his colleague put together a thing about what they thought mindfulness was. So I'm just going to say, 1, being in the present. 2, paying attention to being in the present. 3, being in the moment. So it's not about, oh, I've got to go because I got to go shopping, or you just don't put yourself in that moment, that you take the time really to calm down, to be in the moment, and for letting go of judgment. And what does that mean? Letting go of judgment means not letting go of judging somebody else. It's judging yourself. And when we all think, oh, I can't do this. Oh, no, that's too hard for me. Oh, no, I look really ugly today. Those are judgments that we make to ourselves that don't help us. And so those are the things that mindfulness is considered from the research. So there's one thing that I think that's also really important that we talk about is breathing techniques. So that throughout those times when we're stressed or hyper, that we take that moment to breathe and then let it go.
What a perfect way to kind of end this lovely chat that we've had with you. And I know we're going to have you back because there's so much more to talk about. Thank you so much for taking an hour out of your day from Germany to provide all this incredible information on Drums Alive. We're so grateful. And we look forward to being your friend moving into the future.
Thank you guys. You were fabulous. I so enjoyed being with you too as well. Thanks. And I hope we get together, and everybody out there, don't forget, you are amazing. Don't forget to exercise, move, use rhythm, drumming, music, and cognitive applications.
Thank you.